I tell you what, I think the only people that have fucked around and found out harder than federal employees that voted for Trump is farmers that voted for Trump. This farmer voted for Trump. Now his family farm is barely getting by. The Thomases took a 10% hit when the Trump administration abruptly cut $1 billion from two programs that supplied local produce and meat to schools and food banks across the country. Two things Republicans hate: schools and food banks. Said the financial insecurity makes my depression worse, Jacob said recently. He was trying to remain optimistic, reminding himself it was still earlier in the year. Just because one program went away, there's still plenty of time to pivot. Though the Thomases and many of their neighbors voted for Donald Trump last November, the consequences of this administration's wide-ranging cuts and uncertainty over tariffs have already had a profound impact on this hilly corner of northeast Kansas, one of the hardest hit states for agriculture during Trump's last trade war. It says for many, the pride that they felt when President Trump spoke of his love for farmers in his March 6th address to Congress has given way to a growing sense of helplessness, frustration, and anger. How did you not learn from his first term? It's like people have no memory. Their hate and fear of having a black woman for president could cause them to lose their family farm. And I bet they'd vote for him again if they could.
U.S. farmers are regretting their vote for Donald Trump after their business suffers. Womp womp. Since China implemented their tariffs, farmers are suffering because soybean farmers, especially in the Midwest, are not being able to export as much as they're used to. I wonder why. Yet they voted for him anyway. They voted for him about 2 or 3 times, actually. I don't know how you thought voting for him would help you in your business when creating tariffs will probably hurt you. And he's said he's going to do this multiple times. But, another example of Americans thinking that other parts of the world need them the most. Brazil is the #1 soybean import for China. They don't need the U.S. Brazil is steadily increasing the production year after year after year, while the U.S. has remained stagnant. And y'all thought Donald Trump getting in office will help y'all? You put somebody in office who directly hinders your business. I need these people to take a survey so I can understand why they make the decisions that they do. But again, womp womp. You put somebody in office because of reasons, and now you're paying the price because of those same reasons. You just thought they wouldn't affect you.
A lot of people may have missed it, but have y'all seen this? So first, let me describe what you're seeing. What you are seeing is a protest by Maine farmers. These are people, by and large, who voted for and supported Donald Trump. While Kamala won the state of Maine, and she won it by not the margins that you would typically see when there was a clear difference between what Donald Trump was saying and what Kamala was saying. He won, Donald Trump won this specific district where there is a significant population of rural voters and farmers. So this is how the news in Maine explain this situation.
The Department of Agriculture has angered those who work on small farms across the state.
Political reporter Kate McCusker heard from Maine's farmers who gathered to protest in Augusta today.
With some arriving on tractors and one even carrying a bucket of manure, today Maine farmers gathering to protest recent cuts by the Trump administration. Several farmers from across the state spoke out against recent cuts by the U.S. Department of Agriculture to school lunch programs and food banks. They say federal funding is crucial for small farmers to sustain their business. Some say they've already invested money that the federal government had promised to reimburse them for, or have signed contracts to support them. And overall, they say the uncertainty and confusion is hurting the industry.
This is not a partisan issue for me. I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. I'm a Mainer who thinks we need farms and farmers to feed people in our state.
So Maine farmers, help me to do the math here. 1 + 1 = 2. The sky is what color? Blue. If someone tells you who they are, it's best you believe them. Donald Trump said that these were the things that he was going to do, and he did them. He talked about tariffs, and he talked about cutting the Department of Agriculture. He did exactly what he said he was going to do. This is your around and find out moment. Just enjoy it. Take it like a man or woman. You voted for this. This is exactly what you
While this might sound harsh, but it's just the reality. Hi beautiful people, welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you for stopping by. All credit goes to the creators in these videos. Farmers that once stood proudly behind Trump are having a different kind of reality. They are seeing that everything that he talked about is implementing it. Farmers that believe that they once had strong protection, they are now facing a painful season. Once voted with confidence, and now they expected that all those policies will secure their harvest. They expected that it will safeguard their future. But now the story looks different in reality because their crops are difficult to sell. Their fuel, their fertilizers, the prices are climbing, and even the loans that they collected are piling up faster, and there is no income to pay for it. And all these farms, right, that are supposed to be their source of pride are turning into sources of stress, of headache, of disappointment. And some of them are even selling their machineries to stay afloat. And others are saying that they don't want to plant because it now costs more to sow than they will ever earn at harvesting. And for all these families, this dream of stability has gently slipped into struggle for survivor. Guys, let me know your thoughts in these comments because this is FAFO season.
It looks like farmers are going to get the bailout that they've been asking for. According to Brooke Rollins, the U.S. Secretary of Agriculture, her and the USDA are working with Congress to make sure the next budget bills that Congress passes includes funding for bailouts to farmers. Now, here's the thing. Farmers are getting what they voted for. Overwhelmingly, the vast majority of farmers voted for the policies that are now negatively affecting them and costing a large majority of small farms to have to file for bankruptcy and potentially lose their land. And these bailouts are not going to go to these small farms. They didn't under Donald Trump's first administration. The vast majority of the bailouts went to large corporate mega farms, and they will again this time because that's how the bailout system works. Just like everything else in corporate America, bailouts go to the corporations. Anybody that runs a small business or a small farm is left on the sidelines. Farmers are going to get what they voted for in this bailout, but only the corporate
Farmers in crisis align way out the door of the Woods Chapel Baptist Church in Brooklyn as hundreds of farmers from not only northeast Arkansas, but from across the state came to voice their concerns about the current state of farming. Representatives from U.S. Congressman Rick Crawford, U.S. Senator Tom Cotton, and U.S. Senator John Boozman's offices were in attendance to hear those concerns. Among those farmers in attendance was a farmer in Woodruff County, Chris King. He told me this was his 39th harvest, and he has never seen it as bad as this.
And I've never been as worried as I am now about whether or not my kids and grandkids will be able to carry on.
For King, the main problem starts with the fact that they can't sell for profit.
I just would like to see somebody help us get our markets back. We need our exports, and we just need to be paid for what we do. And that's not happening. And we're in real trouble.
But that is not the only issue. King's wife, Melissa King, and farmer in Biggers, Arkansas, Scott Brown, said they are struggling to afford the cost that is needed just to take care of the farm.
The prices that we're getting now are prices like they were when we were children, and what it costs for us to farm is astronomical now. I mean, the price of a combine when we were kids was, in the 20,000s, and now it's 100,000.
I farm 800 acres by myself. I can't afford any help. I farm with paid-for equipment. All my tractors are 50 years old, and I can't hardly make this deal work. How's the guys farming 5 and 10,000 with 20 hands and $1 million combines and $1 million drills going to make it work?
But for Brown, there is something that rounds out all the issues that they are facing, the tariffs.
I think that tariffs are the ice cream on the cake of a perfect storm. When you try to sell a product,
perfect storm.
Okay, U.S. soybeans leaving New Orleans without the tariff to China are cheaper than Brazilian soybeans at the current market. But when you put the tariff on top of them, Brazilian beans are cheaper.
So how can this be fixed?
In the short term, they have no choice but to mail us a check. I don't know a farmer that likes the check program. Nobody wants to take taxpayer dollars, but nobody wants to go broke. Nobody wants to lose everything. Long term, we have to have options, markets, and places to sell our product.
Now those representatives in attendance will be taking these concerns they heard to Washington, D.C. to share with the government leaders so they can try and find a way to solve this problem before it's too late. Reporting in the studio, Jake Tester, K8 News.
They're not going to help you. Not a damn thing is going to happen. They didn't even show up to this meeting where they said over 100 farmers came. Not a single Congress member, not a single member of the Senate came to this meeting. I'm sorry to have to tell you this, but your family is going to lose a farm. You're going to lose your family's generational farm. You're going to lose everything, and you will probably go destitute. And once you do, JD Vance and BlackRock or other capital venturists are going to swoop in and purchase your family farm for pennies. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. Right? Like, you guys literally voted for this. I had the graphic of Arkansas's presidential election up on the screen. Y'all didn't want a black woman to run this country, and so you decided to side with this idiot who talked about doing tariffs all throughout the fucking campaign trail. This is what you guys wanted. You guys knew what did you think was going to happen? And your representatives didn't even care to show up. Your representatives sent representatives. Nothing is going to happen. This is the end. This is the FAFO moment that we are speeding off of a cliff. Arkansas, I wish I could say I feel bad, but I don't, because I mean, like, you guys are grown. You run a business. It is what it is.
To all the farmers that are now bitching and moaning because everything you voted for is coming true, I have something I want to bring to your attention. You're not totally powerless. For many decades now, Wall Street and massive investment firms have been buying up your neighbors' lands, and most of you didn't fight it. You didn't organize. You didn't stand together against it. Instead, you trusted politicians who never cared about you more than their own donors. So if it is not too late, you guys need to be hopping in your tractors, driving to your nearest state capital, and making a stink. And I mean literally. I'm talking bring your manure. Take a note out of what it is that they do in France, what the farmers do there. Literally spray manure onto Capitol buildings. And if that doesn't work, block the roads. But you guys need to start collectively organizing, or they're going to crush you. And maybe then you'll start to earn the respect of us who told you that you were voting against your best interests. Maybe if you start joining us. If you think this administration cares about you and they're going to bail you out, they're not. Even your vice president, JD Vance, created a company called Acre Trader to allow people to invest, even foreign people to invest in buying up your farmland. I even took the liberty of making you a graphic that you can use to protest this shit. He's a class trader. They all are. And you were too, but you don't have to be anymore. No one's gonna save you, but you guys should have more dignity than licking the boots of billionaires and join us in this fight against fascism. That's all.
Farmers for Trump, baby.
Right now, we're in a very dire situation. September's upon us. Harvest is starting in the deep south, and we have 0 bushels of soybeans on the books to be sold to China.
You know, the ones in Arkansas. Racism and capitalism are two interdependent systems that use othering to create hierarchies of worthiness. This justifies funneling public wealth, subsidies, bailouts to a privileged few, white, affluent, while simultaneously villainizing other groups, black, poor, marginalized groups, for accessing the very same forms of assistance, thereby maintaining economic and social inequity. And the people in the back are not getting this because they believe that these two systems, racism and capitalism, are separate entities. Baby, they cousins. They in the same family. Ain't it funny that the same farmers asking for bailouts
handouts in Arkansas are the same farmers that, one, voted against their interests, and two, villainized others for asking for those same forms of assistance. Now, if you've been reading up on this situation in Arkansas, you know that it's only the white farmers that have received subsidies that are now struggling. Coincidentally, the black farmers aren't struggling. Baby, they was never getting subsidies. And it's not like they didn't need them. Racism, systems of worthiness. We're worthy to get the subsidies. You aren't. Work harder. Pull yourself up by the bootstraps. These same farmers that should be pulling themselves up by the bootstraps no longer see that reference as one that should apply to them. And baby, they paying a mighty high price. Yeah, sorry, not sorry. All right, y'all, I'm still working on this.
Guys, the voices of these farmers just reveal frustration and desperation, because many of them believe that, oh, okay, this strong leader should shield us, and they are calling for help. They are hoping for somebody to step in and turn things around for them, because they are speaking with regret and they are speaking with anger, and they are learning that, guys, no matter how loud they voted, no matter how deep they trusted, promises do not pay the debt, and their fields are growing with uncertainty, and they are left to face the hardest truth of all, right? Sacrifice for survival. And now they are just hoping and praying to God that things will turn around for them for good. It's just a classic case of FAFO, because all these things could have been avoided. Anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comments. I really want to hear from you, and I'll see you in my next video. Please stay safe. Ciao.